Hi everyone, my name is Rod Cole, and today I want to talk to you about this idea which is called what is your real value? And the reason why I came up with this because a few years ago my daughter had graduated from college. It was a 4-year degree. She had majored in biology, and she always wanted to be a veterinarian. She wanted to be a veterinarian her whole life. And the schools that were offering her into the veterinarian program weren't the schools that she was interested in. So what she wanted to do was test a little higher in her test so she can get to the school that she wanted to. So to do that, she took a year off. And during that year off, she prepared for it so she can get into the veterinary program, which she did. But the story is about during that year, she decided that she wanted to work at a gas station. It was like a 24-hour gas station, and it was a convenience store, so it was kind of dangerous. And people would come in there, and they would pass judgment on her, and they would make comments to her. And they would say things like, why are you working here? Why is somebody like you working here? Why don't you go back to school? As if she was in high school. Why don't you go back to school? Or don't you want to do something with your life? And most of the people that said these things to her, they actually meant well. They were just trying to help her. But sometimes some people would come in there and they would say these things to her, these comments to her. They didn't really mean well. It was more about them than it was about her. So they were kind of like putting her down, talking down to her. Well, there was one gentleman that used to come in. He came in about a couple times a month. He wore, a suit, a tie. He dressed really nice, looked like a real professional. And he would come in there. He would lecture her as well, talking about, you're not doing anything with your life. What are you doing? But it felt like it was more about him than it was about her. And he talked about how successful he was and all the things that he was doing. So she listened to him, being respectful. That's how my daughter is. She was respectful. She listened to him. But you know what? The odd thing is, though, she ran into this person a few months later in his place of business. And where he worked wasn't where he said he worked. He worked in the same type of business that she was, which was kind of like a retail store. And there's nothing wrong with people that work in a retail store. I used to do it myself. But I'm just saying, he said that he worked a different type of job. He said he did a different type of thing. He said he had this success that didn't exist. So my daughter goes into this place by chance where he worked. And he was so embarrassed when he saw her. He couldn't face her. He couldn't even look up. Before this young man, or older man, he was, cocky. And now he's, almost like cowardly. And that's sad. And I was thinking about it when I heard this story from my daughter. I was thinking about it, because I've seen this myself. And I thought, why do people pretend to be more successful than what they are? And why is that even necessary? Because really, when you think about it, we're all successful in something. We could just pick it. We're successful. Whether you're successful with your family, successful parent, successful writing, whatever it is, we can all pick something that we're successful with, have some success. Why are we pretending? So I thought about this, and I came up with 2 reasons. Let's see what you think of these 2 reasons, and maybe you have some other reasons yourself. But one of the reasons, to be successful in anything, we all know it's difficult. It doesn't matter what you are. If you want to be a successful parent, it's difficult. If you want to have a successful marriage, difficult. The jobs that we all work, we all have success in our jobs. We do. So the jobs that we all work, that's difficult. Whatever type of success we have, whether it's a smaller success or a larger success, it doesn't matter. Success is just difficult. There's challenging there. And I think because of that challenge of the work that's involved, I think that some people just aren't willing to do the work. I think they're not willing to do the work, so it's just easier for them just to pretend. You know what I mean? So instead of having real success and really going after something, they just put on some clothes and they look good. They wear some jewelry and they look good. They may even have a car. I don't know. And they go around pretending about the success that doesn't even exist. And success is wherever you think it is. So I'm just saying, if you're pretending, you don't think you're successful. So they're pretending to have the success that doesn't exist. And they're telling these stories, they're not true about what they're doing. But the other reason, and this reason is actually sad to me, it's a little hurtful, but this other reason I think that people go around pretending that they're successful when they're not, is that they don't believe in themselves. And that's a hard way to live. I think a lot of us have had that from time to time in our lives. I know I have. And when you don't believe in yourself, wow, life is hard. And I think some people who are pretending to be successful really want it. They desperately want the success. They desperately want to be respected by others, but they just don't believe they can do it. And that's sad. That's hard. That's like the weight of ourselves. And like I said, I've been there. And the reason why some of us don't believe in ourselves could be many reasons, and valid reasons. Not true though, but valid reasons. Maybe you came from a family that all they did was tear each other down and say that you can't believe. Maybe it's this society in general, that the weight of society has just caused you to not believe in yourself. That can happen. Maybe it's the school system you went into. Maybe it's the neighborhood you came from. Maybe somebody labeled you as stupid. I don't know what it is. And that weight is basically the weight of ourselves. We don't believe in ourselves, so what we do is we desperately attach ourselves to materials, such as clothes, jewelry. We put everything we have into a car, so we can appear to be more successful than we are, because we're desperate. We don't believe that we can do it, so we have to present to the world that we can do it, and that's really sad. Martin Luther King had this amazing quote that he had said, and he had said that, I may not be the person that I'm gonna be, and I'm not the person that I should be, but thank God I'm not the person that I once was. And I thought that was this really amazing, because it's about personal development and growth. It's about you growing as who you are. It's like a separation from materials. Even though we need materials, we enjoy materials. I like materials. All of us like materials. But some of us don't just have materials. Materials is we attach ourselves to materials as if it's who we are, and that's not who we are. We're more than materials. Materials can be an extension of you, but you're not your materials. Some people are like, if I don't have nice clothes, I'm no one. No, you're someone regardless of what clothes you have. Some people are like, if I don't have a certain car, I'm no one, and I can't parade that around to folks. I'm no one. No, you're somebody regardless of the car you drive. So what I'm saying is, there's a select group of people though. What I'm saying is that some people ignore themselves and their true value of themselves, and they go straight to the materials, or they go straight to the lie about success and telling people they do things they don't. And when you ignore yourself, you're like this invisible person. There's nobody more important in this world than you or me. How we feel about ourselves, there's nothing more important than that. And if you ignore yourself and you don't value yourself, then you are doing yourself a disservice. So my suggestion is that we start with ourselves. So we start about where am I at today? And you pick an idea, where am I at today in my confidence level? And where was I at 2 years ago? Pick something where you can say to yourself, wow, I grew as a person. I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about the kind of car I have. I'm not talking about the clothes I have. Look at these clothes I have. These clothes are nothing. I don't need clothes. So I'm not talking about the clothes. I'm just talking about the person. Where am I at today in my confidence, and where was I at yesterday? I know with myself, I've gone through a lot of different things, and I've had a lot of challenges, and I'm no different from anybody on this planet. We've all had challenges. But one of the things I do, I look at where I'm at. And I can be so proud as I look at my own accomplishments. And I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about my clothes or my cars. I'm talking about accomplishments as a human being, as in wherever I come from. Right now, at this moment, I am the most confident I've ever been in my life. That's one of the reasons I'm shooting these videos. That's one of the reasons I write the books I've written. I've written 2 books. I'm the most confident in my life, but I'm most confident in my life from my experience that I've had. Today, I am not the same person today as I was 6 months ago. That's how much I've grown. But that's how much I look for it. I'm not the same person I was 5 years, 10 years ago. I wouldn't even want to be that person I was 10 years ago. No way. This is what I'm asking all of us to do. Look at ourselves and say, how have I grown? Some of you have had such hard experiences in the last few years that you have this really thick skin now. You're so strong. You may not think so, but you're so strong just from your experience you've had. But you got to look back on it. So because of the experience you've had 5 years ago, or past few years, now you have a thicker skin. This is how you've grown. These are the things we have to look at. Because you've been hurt and rejected so often in society, or whatever the situation has been for you, now you're stronger because of it. This is what I'm talking about. This is how you've grown. It has nothing to do with your money, your clothes, or anything like that. This is what I'm asking you to look at. And I believe that if we just look at just ourselves and how we've grown, how we've developed in these ways, then we won't desperately attach ourselves to materials as our success. They'll just be an extension of you. There's nothing worse than being desperate and having to prove to others in the world that you are somebody by clothes, by jewelry, by your car. There's nothing more desperate than that. You want to have a strong sense of yourself and your personal development first, so that you feel good who you are and you present yourself to your world as you are. And then the things that you have, the materials you have, is just an extension of your life, and you can enjoy those. You're not desperately attached to them, because materials come and go. They can be taken away. They get older. They go out of style. They come and go. And so you're desperately trying to attach yourself to the next thing. Versus if you just focus on yourself and how far you've grown compared to where you was yesterday, and then try to grow in a level for tomorrow, that's something that you can hold on to, latch onto. That's something that no one can take away from you.